What up, Dokkanners? We're going to be discussing several topics in this video. Number one, which banner is better, the Dokkan Festival banner or the Carnival banner? Number two, which units are going to be featured on these banners, which we already know the majority of, but there's still a couple that we don't know. And number three, which unit is better theoretically on paper, the new Meta Cooler or the new Goku Vegeta? Now, this last one I don't really like to talk about before I get to run the units, because I feel like to properly assess a unit's value, a practical element needs to be involved. I learned my lesson the first time I ever did such a thing, so ever since then I've always wanted to include some sort of a showcase or some sort of practical element first. But because the thumbnail, I feel like the thumbnail might be a little bit misconstrued, I figured I might as well discuss it a little bit. The thumbnail is just too good not to include in this video. Shout out to my boy Kua for one of the best thumbnails I think I've ever seen. So because of that, I had to just include this topic in the video just to make sure that it still covers the thumbnail. So with that said, let's jump in. And as I said, we already know the majority of the featured SSRs here. When it comes to which banner is better, the Dokkan Festival banner or the Carnival banner, the answer is very simple. It is the Dokkan Festival banner. In terms of value, in terms of objectivity, in terms of like the units, and in terms of how they can be applied, the synergy with other units, their leader skills, all those things, these units are generally more valuable than the featured LRs on the Carnival banner. Now, we're not even talking about discounts. Discounts are out of the equation because both banners had the same discounts. They both had the buy 3 get 1 free. But if we were to simply do a head-to-head comparison, like if we look at the top row of the featured lists right here, right? These featured SSRs are all Dokkan Festival leads and all solid units. You compare that to these guys, or even the best units of the bunch. We take out the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, throw in the full power Frieza in there. You throw these guys on there compared to the Dokkan Festival SSRs. Which units are you more inclined to run in terms of leads or simple utility units on various teams? These guys are good, but can you plug and chug them as much as you do with these guys? The answer is probably not. And I think that is the main reason why a lot of people will say the Dokkan Festival banner is better. I don't think this is much of a debate, but you know, in case some people are curious about that. Now, Cooler doesn't change this. Cooler is not a unit that is like so overly busted and meta shattering that it completely transcends everything else, all reason, and it makes this banner a must run or must summon. It doesn't. Cooler's good, but not must summon good. So that's hopefully you guys understand that. That's it's just a simple objective answer. Well, let me know in the comments if you guys have any differing opinions. I feel like, if anything, like if the Carnival banner was in fact a Carnival banner that had double rates, we could have a different conversation. There could be an argument made for this banner being better, but because it's not double rates, this is simply just not better. And I really hate the fact that it is called Carnival and it is not double rates. I think that is probably the root cause for a lot of people hating on this banner, because of the fact that it is called Carnival, where the other instances of Carnival being relevant on a banner, Rising Dragon Carnival, Divine Dragon Carnival, doesn't make sense that this one wouldn't also be double rates, but it's not, so we got to deal with that. But regardless, that is why the Dokkan Festival is superior. Now, let's take a look at the featured SSRs. As I mentioned several times, we already know the majority of the units that are going to be featured, but there's still a couple more that we should try to predict. Now, I do realize that this video is going to be aging very quickly and very poorly, probably depending on my predictions, which will probably end up being wrong. But you know what? I'm kind of on a hot streak right now. I accurately predicted the type and the lead for Meta Cooler, and I also predicted the type and almost like 90% of the leader skill for the AGL Super Saiyan Goku Vegeta. So I'm feeling kind of confident right now. So for the next 8 or 9 hours, depending on whenever this video is going to be uploaded, this video will still have some value, I think. So like I said, we know what the first row of LR or SSRs are going to be. So we simply just plug and chug in the antitheses units. So these guys all would fit in. And then these are the remaining 3. So Namek Goku, Kid Gohan, and Cooler. These are the 2 units that I could come up with. Both clusters of 3, we can kind of see some patterns. We got Super Saiyan Goku, we got Super Saiyan Bardock. We got Cooler, we got Meta Cooler. Both sets of 3 have one EZA, Namek Goku, Meta Cooler. And then the other 2 are solid SSRs that are serviceable, but they're not like overly broken, very powerful units. They are solid in their own rights. So that's basically the Kid Gohan and the STR Cooler. I will say, out of the bunch though, like out of the 2 groupings, the part 1 would be better, because the Kid Gohan is amazing for red zone. STR Meta Cooler is a fantastic, or sorry, not Meta Cooler, I just like saying that. STR Final Form Cooler is an amazing support and leader. One of the rare things that we have these days is a unit that can lead and support very well. This guy does both very, very well. he's just missing an EZA. So I feel like this is a sensible choice here. I think out of all of the three, this one is probably the one that you could change out with somebody else. But let me know in the comments which unit you think would fit in here instead. I can't really think of too many other options, so let me know what you guys think. Bardock does need to be there because I think eventually he'll get an EZA plus. He's just a mainstay on worldwide download banners. It would make less sense to not include him. So now let's move on to part dos, or actually not part dos, but the Carnival Banner. Part 2 Carnival Banner. Again, it's just a simple swapping of whatever exchangeable units we have here. The Goku Vegeta exchange unit, the only one of the bunch that has an antithesis unit, which would be the Kid Gohan and Krillin, which is why we see them on this banner art here. Now, we already see the majority of the LRs. We got Janemba, solid. Goku Gohan, solid. Kid Gohan, and Broly. So we're gonna have those guys in this list. Now, actually, no, before I continue, let me also just clarify something. I think a lot of people are a little bit confused with this whole global shaft thing. There is no global shaft on these banners. I think a lot of people are expecting or feeling like we are supposed to have the Kaioken Goku and the Tech Vegeta, but that's just simply not true. It's not a matter of global being shafted. It's a simple matter of timing. This is how Dokkan works. Because the 7-year anniversary was so recent, a month ago, that is why the units are simply not coming back in a featured capacity. They are still available in the banners as unfeatured LRs, but they are not going to be featured for some time because it completely devalues their original appearance, and it also incentivizes people to be less likely to summon on those banners. Like, for example, if we did get STR Kaioken Goku and the Tech Vegeta, then everybody who spent a ton of money trying to get them during part 2 in 7-year would be like, dude, what the heck? Why did I spend all my money in part 2 when I could have just bought them here, right? So it completely undercuts the previous celebration, and then it also incentivizes people to not summon. That is very anti-business. Now, I am rationalizing this from the perspective of Dokkan. Obviously, I too would love to have the 7-year part 2 units here, but that's just not feasible. So that is why Dokkan made the swap. Now, given the alternative, this is a fantastic option. So I think a lot of people really just misconstrued the whole situation and took this as a global shaft. Future Gohan Trunks is among one of the top LRs on global right now. I would argue that this unit, Janemba or Super Saiyan Goku Gohan, would have been the perfect substitutions for the 7-year part 2s, which is why I'm fine with this. And I think a lot of people, I think they need to realize that. So hopefully this clears up any confusion. I saw some comments and some tweets recently where people were feeling a little bit slighted by this. It's just how Dokkan works. Had Dokkan's 7-year on global been much further away, then it makes more sense, but it's just not the case. So that being said, for part 2, we are getting Janemba, Broly, Super Saiyan Goku Gohan, the pseudo 7-year, an amazing LR, one of the best LRs in the game, and the Kid Gohan and Krillin. We know this. Now, for the remaining SSRs and LRs, we've got these. Now, this is my prediction. I feel like Baby Vegeta and Bojack will be there, as well as the Metacooler Int, STR Piccolo, and we've got the Tech Vegeta. Now, for these 3 at the end here, these are all units that have received EZAs. This one is an older EZA. These 2 are just getting them. It kind of fits with the theme here. The Goku already had an EZA, kind of like the Metacooler, and then the Final Form Cooler, I don't recall when exactly his EZA was revealed, but he got it during part 1. So that's kind of like how these guys got their EZAs during part 2. It makes sense. Only thing is the Thouser here didn't have an EZA, hasn't been given one yet, so he could get one in the future. So could we maybe swap one of these out for another SSR that could potentially receive an EZA? Sure. But what that unit is, I couldn't really think of it. So if you guys have another idea for this one, let me know. One of these guys might have to be swapped out. What would that be? Let me know in the comments. But now back to these 2. Why do I think it's going to be Baby Vegeta and Bojack? The reason is very simple. If we look at the featured SSRs on the banner art for the Carnival Banner, you see Exchange Vegeta, Super Saiyan Spirit Bomb Goku, Future Gohan Trunks, and Full Power Frieza. Full Power Frieza received his EZA. So if we were to simply just 1-to-1 transfer this over to part 2, the units that we see on the banner artwork, we have Broly, Super Saiyan Gohan, Janemba, and Kid Gohan and Krillin. Out of these, the oldest LR is the Broly. So Broly makes the most sense to receive an EZA. Now, it may not necessarily be on theme to give Broly the EZA, but it does make sense given that he is the lead for the Resurrected Warriors. Now, if we look at, if we look at the categories, let's pull up Broly actually. Movie bosses. Okay, movie bosses. We go over to Broly. Where is he? Right here. He leads Resurrected Warriors. Now, if we look at the Resurrected Warriors category, you will notice Metacooler is in there, which means all the other metacoolers will also be resurrected warriors. So in terms of category leads, there is some correlation. It makes sense. So if Broly were to receive an EZA, it would make a whole lot of sense. However, if that's too recent of an LR to give an EZA, then I think the Baby Vegeta would make a lot of sense. And again, these units are built similarly to the Goku and the Super Saiyan 3. So hear me out here. Super Saiyan 3, key plus 400% for Super Tech. Bojack, key plus 400% for Extreme Int. Goku, 130% lead for Pure Saiyans and Hybrid Saiyans. Baby Vegeta, 130% lead for Artificial Life Forms. So it all lines up in terms of value, leader skill, what they're able to contribute, and it also makes sense in terms of timing why these units should be given EZAs. All of these guys are eligible for EZAs in my opinion, as are the Int Goku and the Tech Super Saiyan 3. So I think that's why this makes the most sense. I was thinking about maybe adding Turles. Turles wouldn't make sense because if Turles is going to be featured, he would be one of the LRs that you see in the artwork. It would be a complete disservice to not include one of the better LRs, Turles, on this list here. So Turles would have had to have been swapped out for maybe like Broly or something, but since he's not on the artwork, I think that pretty much confirms he will not be featured. He will still be obtainable via unfeatured, but he will not be featured. So that's why this makes the most sense to me. So let me know in the comments if you guys agree or disagree with this one. I think I feel more confident about this list than I do the Dokkan Festival one, just because the last three are kind of just a grab bag. It could be anybody. Now the last thing, let's just discuss real quickly, which unit do I think is better, the Super Saiyan Goku Vegeta or the Metacooler? Now, I think a lot of people are trying to measure these guys up against the Red Zone, which is unfortunately something that I'm also guilty of doing because Red Zone is the most prevalent event right now, Cell Max. That is why I think a lot of people are very much saying that the Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta are better. We've got automatic damage reduction right away. You compound that with an item, it's going to make them so much better. The propensity for launching multiple attacks makes them incredibly powerful. Plus, you've also got the ease of building your hidden potential based on the passive. So all signs point to the Super Saiyan Goku Vegeta being better, which is what I also feel like. However, I don't want to detract from the abilities that this Metacooler possesses. I was going to talk about this more in the showcase, but I think a lot of people are kind of losing sight on what this guy is meant to do. He's not a slot 1, which I think is a big disappointment. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm so distracted by the artwork. It's so good. Dude, what the... Okay. What was I talking about? Yeah, Metacooler, like, I think people are kind of too focused on the fact that he doesn't have damage reduction. He doesn't have the slot 1 defense that we were hoping for to run with the final form cooler from part 1. But what he is meant to do is to give you an uncanny revivability and unparalleled healing powers. I think that's the point here. This unit seems like a very, very solid floater unit that will be brought back occasionally for, you know, in breaking glass in case of emergency type of a situation. This unit and his immense healing abilities lessens the need for you to have to bring an item like some sort of item that heals you. Instead, you can more easily focus on a support memory that reduces damage received or something else. I think this unit does what it's supposed to do very well, but it just doesn't do what we wanted it to do. I think that's the main reason why people are kind of down on this. But like I said, I don't really want to give my final judgment until I get to actually get a practical element in there and get to run the unit. So look forward to my showcase. I'm going to have a lot of things more to say about the unit, and hopefully they will all be positive. But out of the two, at this very moment, I'm going to say on paper, Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta are better. That is it, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about my assessment, my early assessment about the two units? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think about my featured SSR list? Do you think some units need to be swapped in or out? Which units do you think deserve EZAs? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more dope content in the future and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know you're going to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thanks again. Stay tuned and always remember to Dokkan responsibly, and I'll see you tonight for the live summons. Let's go.